Hey everyone, it's Abby Glassenberg from Craft Industry Alliance. I hope you are having an awesome day today. We are here live every Wednesday at 1:30 Eastern to do our member spotlight. And today's member spotlight, we're going to be talking to Rena, who makes costumes. I'm super excited to have her on and learn a little about her business. She's one of our Craft Industry Alliance members, and it's going to be super great talking to her. Hey, Rena.
Hey, Abby.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you. And I'm very excited to learn about your business because, first of all, I love costumes. And yeah, I'm just super excited to sort of get a sneak peek about, what you're up to. So first, start by telling us a little bit about what is Costumes by Rena, like what do you create?
So it started as I think probably a lot of moms, you start sewing for your kids because you can barter, and so I always loved to sew. So I used to barter for dance lessons, and then I bartered for theater lessons, and so it sort of evolved into making costumes. And then my girls grew up and moved away, and the studios were still like, hey, we still need somebody to sew for us. And then my name got passed around to a couple more studios, and then I got into the pageant world, and that's like a whole nother industry. But it keeps me busy and it's fun, and I get to play with sparkles and crystals and stretchy
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah, that's so awesome. So now you make costumes for, it sounds like dance, for
mhm.
pageants, and then you also do like formal wear as well. Is
I
that right?
do. I do. Yeah.
That's great. And so when did you learn how to sew? Did you learn when you were a child or did you learn as an adult?
So I always joke that I learned to sew with a stapler because that's what I had. Because my mom, but I wanted my mom to teach me to sew, but as a child of the 80s and she worked, and so I'd be like, please, I want to sew, and she just didn't have time really, and so I could never figure out the sewing machine, and it drove me crazy. I wanted to use a sewing machine so bad, so I sewed everything by hand and stapled, and I did embroidery and that sort of thing. But then when I got married, I was like, I want a sewing machine. And so I got this really cheap little Singer sewing machine that was horrible. And I always thought it was me. I was like, I can't sew. I don't know why I can't do this. It didn't hold attention. The stitches were all crazy. And so after about a year of that, I was like, I'm going to get a new sewing machine. And so I got a Viking, and I loved that machine. And that's basically what I learned on. And so I just kind of struggled along and figured things out and read lots of books and talked to people and asked lots of questions. And so I'm self taught.
That's wonderful. And I first of all relate to your mom not teaching you how to sew. Also a child of the 80s. My mom totally rejected sewing as like a feminist. And so we didn't even have a sewing machine in my house. And my grandmother too, actually. And so there was no sewing at all. And I bought a sewing machine in 8th grade and was like, I'm going to learn how to use this. But of course, when you're a kid, it's very difficult. When stuff breaks, you're like, how do I fix
Yeah.
it? And then I could never like fix it myself, and I didn't have anyone to help me. So I also learned as an adult. So I totally relate to
Yeah, it was very frustrating. And I think about that now and I'm like, wow, imagine how great I'd be if I'd had YouTube.
that. Right. That's what we needed. Exactly.
I
I learned
know.
so when I became a blogger and was like, help, I can finally I could like read tutorials and watch videos later.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So, okay, so tell us about some of your favorite projects, some of like the ones that really stand out to you that you've made, some of the costumes that you've really enjoyed working on.
So I've done a lot of really weird things over the years. Like I think those are the ones that stick in my head, the ones that are so like off the wall and just strange. And because I did theater costuming when my girls did theater, and so they would come up with these crazy ideas, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. Like they did Willy Wonka, and they were like, we need squirrels, and I was like, oh, I could totally do squirrels. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I made these like squirrel lederhosen. They were like furry pants with the tail, and then they had like the little, bib thing with fur across here. And they were so great. Like, and I packed them, I like stuffed them with packing peanuts, and I mean, they were just so great. And they, And my whole sewing room was covered in fur, and like the whole house was covered in fur. And I was like, I'm never sewing fur again. But they were just so great on stage that,
That's awesome. That's reminding me of when I went to see The Lion King. And one of the things I loved about that show, of course, the costumes and the fact that like they weren't completely dressed as the animal. It's just
yeah,
like you need like hints of what that animal is, and you as the viewer fill in kind of the rest. So
yeah.
lederhosen's like the perfect solution for
It
this
was,
girl.
well, and because they kind of had, I don't know. I mean, Willy Wonka's so out there anyway. So I've done some really interesting costuming, I guess, for the theater. And then dance. I mean, I love dance and I love making um, leotards and I love the flow and the just the movement. So I always laugh about, putting stuff on and like twirling around in my sewing room because I'm like, well, I got to see it on a person. And my husband comes down and I'm wearing a tutu. Like, what are you doing?
That's awesome.
I was like, well, my girls are gone. Like I used to always
Right.
like, hey, put this on. Hey, put this on. And they're like, oh my gosh, mom, really? And I did, although my husband got to join, I did the theater production Matilda.
Oh yeah.
There's Mrs. Trunchbull,
Oh sure.
and so it was played by a man, and they wanted me to make him like a woman suit that
Mhm.
made him look sort of lumpy and big boobs and all. And so I did that, and so I took it upstairs to my husband. I'm like, hey,
Will you put this on
will you
and
put this
be
on?
Miss
And
Trunchbull?
he's like, no. I'm like, come on, please. I need to see what this looks like on a person. And you're about the same size as the guy that's playing. And so he finally reluctantly agreed. And my girls were just like in hysterics. And they were like, please, can we post pictures on the image?
Right. Oh my
He's
God,
like,
that's
no.
amazing. Your husband's a good sport. That's awesome
He
though.
was, he was like, I don't like this.
That's so funny.
It was really funny.
And then talk a little bit about the pageant world. I'm reading a book right now that is like it's a new book and it's about the history of Miss America.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's actually super interesting. I'll send you the link. But
Yes, I need that link.
yeah, yeah, it's so interesting. Like the sort of what is Miss America and American culture, and it kind of
Oh,
runs
wow.
through all the Miss Americas that we've ever had, and talks about their stories and kind of the changing, place of the pageant or of pageantry in general in American life. So I'm
Oh,
curious
wow.
about what you make for pageants.
So it's interesting. When I started sewing for pageants, it was dance because it was a talent thing. Because that's kind of where my focus was in the dance world, and I was doing costuming and stuff. And so a friend of a friend was like, "Hey, I have this lady, and her daughter does pageants, and she needs a dance costume." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. That would be great." And so I started sewing for her, and then she passed my name on to another lady that was like, "Hey, I need a dance costume for this pageant." And I was like, "Sure." And then, it kind of snowballed. So they like kind of traded my name. They were like, "Hey, I got this lady." And so then they started asking me to do other things like, "Hey, can you make a gown? Can you make interview outfits? Can you make talent outfits? Can you make fun fashion?" Which I'm like, I don't know what that is, but sure, I can make whatever you need. And so it's expanded, and it's really fascinating because I will say that these girls that I work with, and they're all young, they're like early teens ish. Um, they are the most well spoken clients that I have. Like they will look me in the eye and they will say, "No, I don't like that," or "No, it needs to come in here. It needs," and they have this expectation that every outfit and every garment they wear is going to have to be altered to fit their body. And I think that's something that's kind of missing from the world today. They think, "Oh, I should be able to buy this and it should fit me magically." And nothing does. So it's really great to work with people that are like, "Oh, we're going to have this taken in," or "We're going to have this hemmed," or they just expect it, and so they have that cost built into whatever the wardrobe's going to be. And so it's never a battle with them. Like I'm never like trying to justify like, "Oh, well, we need to do this or we need to do that." They're like, "Whatever you think, just do it."
Yeah.
So it's been a fun, they're a lot of work because they say, hey, can you fix this gown? And I say yes, and they show up with like 6 outfits. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, we thought maybe we'd just bring these, because this needs this and this needs that. And I'm just like, wow, this is a lot of work. But they're a lot of fun, and like I said, the girls are great to work with. Like they're just so just together, like they have it together. And they're leaders in the community and they're doing great things. So, that aspect of pageantry, I had no idea. Like I thought,
Uh-oh, you broke up for a second. Rena, hopefully you'll come back.
no.
Oh, there you go. I think you're back. I'm not sure. Oh no. I can hear you again, but
Oh, good.
yeah, I
Oh,
can hear you. Yes.
okay. Shoot. I live in a hole and it's storming today. So you never know what you're going to get
Oh no.
at our house. I was like, of
Yes,
course today.
exactly.
Of course.
I was gonna ask you two quick questions. Or one thing I was gonna say is when I got married and started shopping with my husband for menswear, one of the things that I was most struck by is that men's suits and men's pants, they come unfinished, and it's expected that they will be altered to fit you. And I
Yes.
thought that was so different and revolutionary
No.
the way that women's clothes is. You buy women's clothes and it's like it's supposed to fit you off the rack. But I think that attitude of like everything you buy is going to need to be altered is really a much better way to approach getting dressed.
Yeah. And I think women are much more, I mean, our shapes are much more diverse, I think, than men. So why isn't there that expectation with women when we have it with men? And men, they don't really care that much. I mean, at least the men I know, they're like, just put a belt on, it's fine. you know.
I just think it's awesome, yeah, that men's pants are unfinished, and I think women's pants should be unfinished as
I
well,
think
because
so
as a
too.
person who's 5'2", I often need things altered. And then the other thing I was going to say is, do you have any tips for word of mouth and using word of mouth in your business as a marketing tool? Because it sounds like really the way that you've built your business is by one family telling another family about you. And I wondered if you are doing anything proactively to make that happen, because that's I mean, obviously, word of mouth is the most powerful marketing tool. And so, as a service based business, do you have any tips there?
I think just good customer service. And if you care about your clients and you do the best work you can, I think your name and also protect your name. Like don't put your name on something that's not up to your standards. Like I'm always very particular about, taking on something else that somebody's tried to fix and ruined. I don't want my name associated with that because I don't want people to look at it and go, oh, well, Rena did this when I didn't do it. I came in after the fact and was the fixer, not the original. So I think I just really protect my name and my brand as, being having integrity and having honesty and being upfront and, working with people. But also, I have more work than I can really do. Like I only work with local people because I don't, again, my name, I don't want my name on something that looks terrible. And if they're out of state and I don't get to fit it, then I don't know what it's going to look like. So
Right.
I'm very much, if you want to drive to see me, that's fine. I have people that drive 2-3 hours to get
I
here, which
bet.
is, I'm like shocked. I'm like, really? You want to do that? But okay. Um, but I think it's because, I have loyalty, the people I sew for, they keep coming back. And if you get in with a dance studio or a group of people, I mean, it just becomes like it just snowballs. Like it's got to the point where I do have to turn work away because I'm only one person and I'm not going to hire somebody that I don't, again, my name. I don't want, I don't want to give somebody work and then put my name on it and have it be less than what I want it to be. So just, I think it's a slow method of building a business, but I think it's a good one, or at least it worked for me because I grew into my business. As the girls got older and I had more time, I spent more time and I took more on. I don't think it's a very quick way to build a business. Like, I think, if you want to start a business and get going right away, word of mouth, it takes a while. Like, you have to be known in the community. And I think being involved in the community and active, and I think that puts your name out there too. Like, if you hole up in your house and never talk to anybody, nobody's gonna know who you are. But if you're, active in the community and involved and, out there, and people ask what you do and you say, oh, this is what I do. And I only take referrals because I don't want to work with somebody I don't know.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a few crazies down here,
I
like in
bet. Well,
in
in
my
all
studio.
businesses, yeah,
Yeah,
in all businesses, there's always those customers who are just overbearing. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And where are you located, just so that any of our listeners who are watching and may want to actually come visit you and have some work done by you can know where you are?
I am North Metro Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay,
So
good to
yeah.
know. Yeah.
So
Well,
anybody in the
Rena,
Atlanta area.
and where can people find you online if they want to kind of check out your work? What's the best place for them to see what you're working on?
So I try to post. I'm really bad at social media. I'm just not great at it. I feel like a dinosaur. But Instagram, I'm at So Costumes, and Facebook, it's Costumes by Rena. And then I have a website which really probably needs to be updated, and it's also costumesbyrena.com. So they can find me at any of those places. Like I said, I try to post what I'm working on, but a lot of times I can't post what I'm working on because a lot of the pageant stuff
Right.
has confidentiality agreements. So I can't show it until after it's, been exposed to the wider audience in all its
Right.
glory.
That totally, yeah, that totally makes sense. And we love having you as a Craft Industry Alliance member. I love like the diversity of kinds of businesses that
Yeah.
our members have, and yours is a super neat one. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Abby. It's been fun.
It's been great talking to you and learning more about what you do. And thanks
Thanks.
everybody who joined us today. And we will see you next week for our next member spotlight. Take care.